That's nice. Okay, so I'm here celebrating tonight. This is my first book, which was reprinted since I moved in, and this is the new and revised version. So I'm going to read some pieces from that tonight. I thought a lot about what I was going to do tonight, and I decided that I don't want to do this, here's a trans narrative, and here is me trying to pluck at your heartstrings, gathering your pity for my trans narrative, etc., etc. So I figure people who are here anyway know me anyway, so I'm just going to read the weirdest, most challenging things that I want to read, and I'm not going to do that stuff, but there is like a trans narrative in here if you want to find it, and there's all this stuff, and it's like, it can go on Condé Nast or something like that. Fit into an article that has the word first everywhere, like in every other sentence. Okay. And I should say a lot of these poems were written around 2001. So right after the Iraq War and after I had come out, but I hadn't transitioned yet. So since I moved in, starting to feel like a real room, or would you say that's traditional? Almost typed tomb, then corrected it, enlightenment. Saner and saner, alligator, bars on windows, nut. Orpheus turned around and saw, bungled that too. Orpheus was plugged in, then you. But it seemed that girls were messing things, then your mouth. I wanted social change to attach meanings, although fleeting. 8 popsicles in winter at the pharmacy were phrases, second pair of eyes, proactive, on top of things, move forward with, on op of laptop pings, funny to be saunas. You did? I'm finding it harder to continue this conversation since feet. Why even bother with all that snow? Like technology screws up where you get to move, twist, and the other up-to-the-minute dances. G, gluttons for techno enhancement, bud, apotheosis. I'm writing in my pajamas, the interface that has kept me from reaching you. Winter finds a ratio to end itself with. And in that scenario, that tryst, can be found all the policies of the old administration. Those are just the first 2 lines. Your face, for example, or the check coming back in. And for once the payment was a responsibility one took on. Tracheas commingle in the morning snow and the sleds, enervated but still real, struggle down the hill. Once, I thought I could be one of a million bodies, throwing themselves out into the open place in the paths of cars, or hunting at the magazine racks for loose change. Any change, what happens when the next stage of the launch engages. 1 minute you were standing on the phone with a lunchbox and a pile of terrible ideas, and the next, whammo, immersed in a white flight from somewhere to the future, one eliminated something. The other numbers, tokening themselves back into the surface of the calculator's dull face. 1 drop was all it took. In the past, I've been obsessed with where I came from, but never to the extent of snow, which dissolves and melts in the layers of others. Who desires to fit their career inside the walls of a canoe anyhow? The attractive children smile all day, and in the corners of the room, a terrible lightness settles. The drink has been swallowed, the angles of your chin half shown, but the rest unknown. This is about everything that has no quarter rest. No defunct poles or silhouettes, only the harsh language of the newly set-free miscreants in full throttle over the oars. The wars had gone nowhere, the wars had gone and none at all. And Bricky. And this was in Cambridge. Some of this was written in Tucson, some of it was written in Cambridge. So now I've escaped to a debonair encampment, less hungry than meal jealous. I've come around flocks of hoodlums and bearing down. Broadway is a kind street lifting glad notion of what we make possible. I planted that median in the center with grass for you, automatic sprinkler. Being too dangerous to indulge my body presence, I have to skirt and peck around the edges of monuments. That's okay, the way we always corrected it, shifting one leg on the bus toward the truss. Families and unlived organs inside me, I'm parading hands over everything one sees but can't reach. I'm a little disgruntled with a coffee in one hand and an overwrought leer. I'm Cambridge one moment, then I'm not. We could throw around zip codes and define our territories. Here, you try it. I have taken your zip code, which was in the poem, and which you were probably proud to have stored up all winter against the effete opponents of that new legislation. The rise of the anarchist in June blooms. Like a limpet held to a rock, I stated what moves me, though it curves around in dramatic curlicues and you don't give a shit. A man walked across the bridge and picked up my dropped pen. It becomes too gaunt a reprisal to live within. To thank the owners of real estate in their teal buildings downtown, I'm running out of apathy. Protagonists are unlike phantom belly dancers. I think we've established that. Teach me about lust and what repeats I've missed. Calm me down earlier than stores close in Cambridge town. Buttoned up and stealing away, you think it's our thing. The lights collide in a distant town for you. Oh, the cornices organized to bring down structures in your honor. And this is Embarrassment of Riches. And this poem is interesting because Garrett Lansing decided he loved this poem for some reason. He read this at all of his readings for a while. Those of you who know Garrett Lansing, it was just like a thing that he did, and I was honored but very intimidated by it at the same time. So, Garrett, wherever you are. Oh, also, Carrie Edwards published this poem very generously at the time. Embarrassment of Riches. The grotesque imbalance of powers fuels my morning walk. Azaleas, blue phlox, curbside junk. The careers of several generals winding up in the cult status bin, partially on account of the long night and a Lexus SUV, part the mysterious foliage of a potted plant in the company hallway. No harbingers, no gusts of atrocious statement. We are a free country, and in that dialysis we derive our nutrients from unfair advantage, not unlike arm wrestling and gale force winds. The occult language denied to me by my ancestry will emerge in news photos of the battered and the dead. Fringe benefits, cola. I had to try on an appearance I wore in the recesses of a dream. In the dream there was a private anchor, and I sat on top of it and rowed it out of the water onto the boat. The vessel of our sleeping company lurches forward, flank or wing. The people around you, brain dead though they find their poles, learn you a thing or two. In practice, the arms of the Republic should embrace those who differ in hair color, build, or perception. A sequined dress, barren angle in the new world, apotheosis of corona and self-stink. Wink. The news carried us into the souped-up sand dunes. Partially, I grow nostalgic for the intimacy of a nape, but this timidity runs fallow under rifles and manpower. I did not side with the victors. I did not lose my change on the wrong bet. Rusted machines of the hard of hearing government. Okay, so that's since I moved in. Now, thank you, everybody.